Now at 9, we'll hear from a domestic violence survivor about the legal challenges she's facing to regain her independence. Plus, Connect to Culture announces the results of its Americans for the Arts study and how you can get some dental work done for free tomorrow in Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. A Cherokee County jury returns a verdict against a man convicted of raping a juvenile. It took the jury less than 3 hours to find Jason Miller guilty of 3 counts of rape, 2 counts of aggravated criminal sodomy, 1 count of aggravated indecent liberties with a child, and 1 count of lewd and lascivious behavior. The trial stems from an investigation in November of 2019 into Miller's criminal conduct with a juvenile. Sentencing for Miller is scheduled for December. A domestic violence survivor is struggling to gain freedom from her abuser through the court system. As she is still in the midst of her court cases, she has requested to remain anonymous. Miranda Burton has the story.
It took Alice 12 years to gather the courage to leave her abusive marriage, but her fight for freedom continues.
No matter how dangerous the situation is for the person getting away from the abuse, they still expect you to send your kids, fully interact with that person, even with a restraining order.
Domestic abuse survivors often lack evidence, but that isn't the case for Alice. Even so, she has been involved in multiple court cases for over 2 years with no end in sight.
Text messages from the children while they are in the midst of the situation asking for help. It is pictures whenever there was a sprained wrist that we had to go to the hospital for. Even when children speak up and talk about what's happening to them, they say that the victim is usually coaching the children.
Safe House Crisis Center Director Brooke Powell says many survivors don't end up seeing cases through because of how long it can take.
Having to take time off of work to testify, having to be at those court hearings, that takes a toll on them in more ways than one, emotionally, physically, financially. And so a lot of times they may, again, get frustrated and just say, I just want to move on.
Powell says while time and healing can offer closure to some, other survivors struggle with the constant threat of their abusers just around the corner. In those cases, the folks at the center find ways to help.
If the survivors reached out, is really helping them get through that. Like, let's safety plan around this. Yes, law enforcement couldn't do anything, but let's think about what we can do and get a plan together.
Plans can be anything from relocation to providing Ring doorbells for more security. Miranda Burton, KOAM News.
The Safe House Crisis Center reports serving 600 survivors in the last fiscal year. 225 of them were cases extreme enough to warrant staying in their emergency shelter. Well, meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with the first look at the forecast.
And we have a beautiful day across the 4 states this afternoon. Now we're starting to watch some thunderstorms developing off towards the west. Off the last 4 hours, you can see most of the storms are moving to the north up into northeastern Kansas and southeastern Nebraska. We're waiting for more development along the cold front further to the south. And as that develops later on tonight, we're going to see those showers and storms in our area from around, let's say after midnight into about 4 a.m. with a low temperature of 61 degrees. And looking down the lane, we had those isolated to scattered thunderstorms tonight, a much cooler Friday and a chilly weekend ahead, as well as below normal temperatures all next week. And I'll spell all that out for you in the forecast coming up in just a little bit. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Sam. Connect to Culture in Joplin releases the finding of its Americans for the Arts study. Study looked at how the city's arts and culture industry impacted the local economy. It found the industry generated $5.9 million in economic activity last year. Officials say the study shows how important the industry is to the community.
want people enjoying live entertainment and coming out and experiencing it. So just to see people feel comfortable coming back is really great, and it's really great for our cities because the amount of event-related spending that is generated by all of these arts events is really impactful, and I think that our cities have definitely been missing that economic boost.
The study was conducted by compiling more than 800 audience intercept surveys from a variety of local events. The Precious Moments Family Reunion is underway in Carthage. The event brings visitors from around the world. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to the daughter of the original artist, Sam Butcher.
Precious Moments in Carthage is welcoming back family from around the world with classes and more at its family reunion. One of the classes allows visitors to make their own Precious Memories figurine with help from Deb Butcher, the daughter of the original artist, Sam Butcher.
You did a beautiful job. They are just as important to this brand and the success of this brand as my father, as the creator. And what's happened over the years are these people, they come together, they meet new friends, and these are lifelong friendships that they have.
Teamwork makes the dream work is the theme this year, highlighting the teamwork that keeps Precious Moments going.
Hiko has taken over the spot from Fujioka-san, the original sculptor, and my dad, of course, is the original artist. So we are like second generation, we're that team. So teamwork makes the dream work.
I remember Deb years ago being with her father, Sam, and doing different things, and it was really kind of cool. She's really matured in her artwork, but once you get to know Deb, she gets to know you, and then it's all of a sudden it's like you've known her all your life.
Collectors like to look forward to this reunion every year because it's a chance to catch up with others who understand their passion.
I have a wonderful husband and two sons, both growing and on their own now, but they laugh at me sometimes when I want to do this Precious Moment stuff, but yet they say go for it. You enjoy it, Mom. We understand.
Reporting in Carthage, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The Precious Moments Family Reunion continues through October 14th. Students at a Carthage Elementary had a party today. Fairview Elementary hosted a fusion fiesta as part of its Title I Family Involvement Night. Students were able to hang out with friends and break open some piñatas to get some tasty treats.
The purpose of tonight is to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, to give our students and their families a chance to really be immersed in the culture through reading activities, dancing, music, much more, including our piñata contest where students made piñatas at home and other students get to come vote on their favorite, and whoever wins gets a fun prize.
Kindergartners and first graders were grouped up for the first part of the event, and then it was the second and third grade students' chance. Well, a dentist in Joplin is giving people the chance to get dental work done free of charge. Starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow, My Dentist is offering to extract a single tooth, fill a single tooth, or clean your teeth at no cost. It'll run until 1 p.m., but officials say you should get there as early as possible because they expect to be very busy. Coming up, how oral immunotherapy could help deal with peanut allergies in young children. A new report says cigars are increasingly becoming popular among youth in the U.S. The report by Rutgers University finds about 500,000 youth smoke cigars, with more than 800 youth per day using it for the first time. The Food and Drug Administration says it's finalizing plans to ban the sale of flavored cigars. An estimated 1 in 13 children have food allergies, and nuts are one of the food groups that can cause some of the most serious allergic reactions in the U.S. Mandy Gaither has a look at research that may help.
It's one of the most common causes of severe allergy attack. Peanut allergies can affect all aspects of a child's life.
They can spend a lot of time worried about having a true life-threatening allergic reactions. So it can be really difficult for these kids.
Dr. Sandra Hong with Cleveland Clinic says food allergies can also lead to isolation, even bullying.
We can't have parties in the classroom anymore, or we're not allowed to have the really fun treats anymore because there's someone who has a milk allergy or a peanut allergy.
Hong is one of the authors of a study researching how oral immunotherapy may help in It's a therapy where researchers expose young children under the age of 1 who have been diagnosed with a food allergy to the food to which they're allergic.
We get very tiny amounts slowly built up into their system, and we need to do it in our offices.
Hong says of the children who took part in their peanut oral immunotherapy study, 91% ended up being able to tolerate large amounts of peanuts without a severe reaction. She says the rest were still able to be exposed to multiple peanuts at a time. Researchers believe that means those children may not have to worry about accidental peanut exposures.
They are at an ice cream shop and they, want to get ice cream, but as long as they avoid the peanut containing ones, they'll be able to tolerate small amounts of contamination.
Well, meteorologist Sam Lane is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later we'll hear from the Pitt State Gorillas ahead of this weekend's rivalry game against Missouri Southern.
Across our area, and then the sun came out this afternoon and that allowed temperatures to warm up into the 70s. You could see some stratocumulus clouds there, and now we're left with cloudy skies tonight as we're starting to see some thunderstorms developing off towards the west. Right now though, temperatures are still very mild, generally in the upper 60s and lower 70s, like 71 in Iola right now, 64 in Neosho, and 62 degrees over in Monette. Here's a look at the radar right now. We have two areas of thunderstorm complexes, one up in northeastern Kansas, and then now we're starting to see development down in north central Oklahoma. That is the activity that's going to move up towards us into the overnight hours. There is a risk of severe weather, but the good news is most of that is going to stay well to the north, and the risk levels are low. In fact, the tornado risk is basically zero, with large hail, high wind, and heavy rain the marginal threats as we go into the overnight hours. Rain chances are going to be highest around 3 a.m. in the morning and then dropping off after that as we head through the day tomorrow. In fact, looking at the rainfall total, we're expecting generally around maybe a quarter to half an inch in some of the heavier storms, and even this model is forecasting about an inch or so down to the south where the moisture is a little bit deeper. Other areas are not going to receive all that much, so hopefully everyone will get something, but most of us are going to see just scattered showers and storms. So tonight at midnight, we'll see those storms in Oklahoma moving up into our area with temperatures in the 60s. Then 3 hours later at 3 a.m., those will start to move in through the metro area with south winds continuing. Here's the front that's moving in from the north and west, and by 6 a.m. that will start to slice across our area with temperatures still warm ahead of it and starting to cool down behind it. Then by 9 a.m. that front will swing through and our winds will change direction out of the west with temperatures in the 50s and 60s off towards the east. And then as we head through the afternoon, we'll start to see partly cloudy skies with temperatures in the low to mid 60s for highs. And then as we go into the overnight hours, we're going to see those cloudy skies continuing as cold air starts to spill in from the north. And by Saturday morning, we're going to see temperatures around 50 degrees for the lows. But then at lunchtime, which is when the annular eclipse is going to occur, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to really see much of the eclipse unless you're down in Oklahoma, and then temperatures will be in the mid-50s. Over the next 7 days, here's the forecast. Tomorrow, scattered showers in the morning with a low, generally in the 60s, and then in the afternoon, making up to 70. And then by the weekend, look at that, highs only in the 50s, and that continues into Monday. Then we begin a slow warming trend, but then another storm system arrives the middle to latter part of next week. But we're going to be below normal on temperatures pretty much all week long.
Yeah, you can't complain about that.
Nope.
I like it with the lower temperatures.
Me too.
It's finally fall.
Absolutely, it's definitely here to stay.
Keep it above freezing for a while.
I'll do my best.
Thank you very much. Well, coming up with tip screens popping up more and more, American consumers are developing tip fatigue. Consumer price inflation increased more than expected last month. Price increases remained elevated as year-high gas prices kept inflation up and heaped more pressure on consumers. The Consumer Price Index jumped 3.7%, for the 12 months ending in September, slightly above economists' expectations. Well, it's become more common to see screens with a tipping option when you buy food or drinks. Fox's multimedia reporter Chelsea Torres has more on tip fatigue.
A business professor blames it on the pandemic and inflation. I spoke with plenty of people who say they really don't mind tipping a waiter, but are a little more reluctant when no real work has been done. Buy a bottle of water or snack, should you tip for it?
I feel a little guilted into having to give it. Now, I'm the kind of person, I give it every time.
But not everyone feels guilty.
No, I don't. Especially pre-pandemic, in spots where I wouldn't be tipping, then I have no problem not tipping, especially now.
One business owner says tipping became more common during the pandemic, but it helps with his operating costs. Tommy George owns a pasta company. He recently switched to Italian flour, an authentic ingredient with a 50% higher price tag.
We raised our prices once in the last 2 years. All our stuff has gone up in price. Everything that we buy has been going up in price. So the tipping, helps defray some of my payroll costs a little bit.
The tip screen is on most automated systems. Business professor Angeline Scheinbaum says the switch from face-to-face interactions to automated systems has people wondering why they need to tip.
It's not the service providers. It's the shift in technology and culture post-pandemic. We've got to account for inflation. So that's one of the reasons why consumers are having this tip fatigue.
I feel like sometimes it's not warranted when they just hand me something from behind the counter.
The pasta shop owner says tipping can be a pain, but believes an extra $1 or $2 goes a long way.
In my mind, it just helps spread the wealth. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a real tough question.
Thank you much.
Bankrate, a financial research site, did a survey earlier this year and found 2/3 of people have a negative view of tipping. Chelsea Torres, Fox News.
Well, up next, Hallmark is already looking ahead towards Christmas, revealing some new holiday ornaments. Halloween may be less than 3 weeks away, but Hallmark is already thinking ahead to Christmas. The company has announced it will be revealing 150 new holiday ornaments during its annual Keepsake Ornament debut. Hallmark says the ornaments will include classic designs, iconic fan favorites, as well as some pop culture trends. The Keepsake debut will take place October 14th through October 22nd. Hallmark first launched its Keepsake ornaments in 1973. Well, 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. We'll hear from a Carthage, Missouri man about the history behind the upcoming movie Killers of the Flower Moon. Plus how fighting among House Republicans is delaying a vote for the next Speaker of the House. Martin Scorsese's newest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, hits theaters next week. KOAM's Anthony Saviello spoke with a local self-proclaimed expert about the events described in the movie.
When I was a young boy, they told me these stories about how the white people had basically forced these Native Americans, the Osage, onto this what they believed to be worthless land in Osage County, Oklahoma, and it turns out it was one of the richest discoveries of oil on the North American continent.
Gene Griffith is an American history enthusiast. More specifically, he's a self-proclaimed expert about the events that take place in the upcoming film, Killers of the Flower Moon.
I actually witnessed the filming of Killers of the Flower Moon. George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic, they were down there recording, the sound, and of course the visuals too.
The film, starring Oscar Award winners Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, shows the manipulation of the Osage Nation by white encroachers seeking to make their fortune off of oil-rich land.
The Osage Nation, which consisted of about 2,200 people, they became some of the wealthiest people on the planet, simply because of the great wealth underneath that land.
According to Gene, this story is one that deserves the attention of the big screen.
The story of Native Americans in the United States is truly a sad one, a dark chapter in our history. And it's good that it's being told, and Martin Scorsese is just the man to do it, all right?
So, if there was any doubt about this movie, you can bet, after a talk with Gene, you'll want to go see it. Reporting in Carthage, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
I'm already planning on seeing it. Killers of the Flower Moon will exclusively hit Apple TV on October 20th. The Israeli military is preparing for a possible ground invasion of Gaza in the 6th day of fighting. The Biden administration says the safety of Americans stuck in Israel is a top priority. Today, the State Department announced it will start arranging charter flights and other transportation to get them out of the country. GOP nominee for House Speaker Steve Scalise spent the night and morning trying to whip up enough Republican votes, but reports are swirling he's not even close. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
While Israel is on the offensive, carrying out deadly airstrikes in Gaza after a brutal attack by Hamas, the U.S. House of Representatives remains leaderless and unable to deploy any aid or response after Kevin McCarthy's unprecedented ousting 9 days ago.
We're $33 trillion in debt. We got a southern border in crisis. Israel is at war. Can we please get our act together?
We can't drag this out any longer.
Wednesday, Republicans chose Louisiana Congressman Steve Scalise as their speaker nominee in a closed-door election after he beat Representative Jim Jordan by 14 votes. But with the vote on the House floor still delayed, it seems the majority leader is having trouble winning over the additional votes he needs to secure the speakership.
I love Steve Scalise, but again, I'm not on the whip team, but I can count votes, and the votes aren't there for Steve.
Scalise addressing the party in another closed-door meeting Thursday, hoping to rally the holdouts.
We're going to continue to go through this process as we grow our support, work towards getting this resolved and getting the House back open.
Frustrations could work in his favor, though, with some lawmakers just wanting to get this done.
For me to be sitting in this room for an hour and a half while I'm trying to get citizens out of Israel, trying to push this administration to get military aircrafts on the ground, or at least chartered commercial planes on the ground, to get my constituents home, that's more important to me. And we need to elect a speaker and just move on and start governing.
Republicans have said they will not bring a vote to the House floor until they're confident their nominee has enough votes to win the Speaker's gavel. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A little bit later, we'll head to a local costume store to check out some of this year's most popular Halloween costumes.
Another warm-like day across the 4 states with lots of sunshine and also breezy conditions too. Let's take a look outside right now at Seneca, Missouri. We can see that things are mostly fair down there and still warm, generally in the 60s, not only there but also across the entire area, as we still have those south winds bringing up moisture. But it's still 71 in Iola right now, 68 in Nowata and Independence. Pick out your hometown. Meanwhile, it's 64 degrees over in Neosho. There are some storms on the radar way up to the north in northeastern Kansas, but also we're watching this activity developing in north central Oklahoma around Ponca City. That's going to be moving up into our area as we go into the overnight hours, and it's expected to expand and cover more areas. So we'll see those scattered showers and storms developing in the overnight period. And there is a risk of severe weather, but the good news is most of that's going to stay to the north. There is a risk of marginal severe weather in our area with hail, high wind, and some heavy rain between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. But again, the threat is very low. Instead, we're going to see high rain chances tonight in the overnight hours and then dropping off rapidly as we go through the day. And then by tomorrow evening, it'll be all gone. Rainfall amounts are not expected to be all that intense. Some areas could pick up maybe a ½ inch or so in some of the heavier storms, especially down to the south where the moisture is a little bit deeper. So we'll have to wait and see if that verifies. So tonight at midnight, here's the forecast. We expect those scattered showers and storms to start developing and moving into the western parts of our area with temperatures still in the 60s on south winds. Then as we go into 3 a.m., those storms will be moving through the metro area and off towards the north and east with still south winds and temperatures in the 60s. Then at 6 a.m., here comes the cold front that's causing all of this as we start to see scattered showers out ahead of it with temperatures in the 60s. Then by 9 a.m., the front will be sweeping through the metro area with the rain and the storms moving off to the east, temperatures dropping down into the mid-50s out to the west, meanwhile still in the 60s to the east. Then by noon, The entire rain system will be off towards the east with partly cloudy skies and highs generally in the low to mid 60s. And then as we go into the afternoon, the clouds start to come back in as we head towards evening, with temperatures in the 50s and the 60s with westerly winds. Then by the time we go into tomorrow evening, all the rain will be gone and we'll just be left with mostly cloudy skies and temperatures in the 50s. And then as we go into Saturday, I know a lot of folks are looking forward to the eclipse, and it looks like we're going to be socked in with clouds. Lots of clouds, maybe a few showers up to the north and east with temperatures in the mid 50s. Best chance to see the eclipse will be down towards Tulsa and points to the south and west. Over the next 7 days, here's the forecast. Tomorrow, 70, that's mainly going to be at midnight, and then scattered showers, and then that will start to move out as we head towards mid-morning, and then much cooler for the weekend. Highs only in the 50s and lows in the 40s, and the cooling trend continues, and then we begin a slow warm-up, and then another round of storms possible next Thursday. But we're going to be below normal for quite some time, and it's going to feel like fall out there.
Yeah, and the temperatures aren't going to get too close to freezing.
No, not quite yet.
Is that a concern later this weekend to try to make sure our plants are in?
Well, you know, maybe some frost on Monday morning and Tuesday morning, but it shouldn't be that big of an issue.
Okay.
All right.
Enjoy the
exactly.
fall. It's finally here. All right. Thanks, Sam. Well, coming up in sports, a Neodesha High School senior commits to play golf at the D1 level. Plus, softball highlights from around the area on day one of the playoffs. John Dales has those stories and a lot more up next.
It's an exciting morning at Neodesha High School, where a standout athlete signs his national letter of intent to play collegiate golf at the D1 level. Kyle Eggers, a rising senior, is headed to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln this morning. He's surrounded by family and friends, along with his coaches on FaceTime, and says it's been a long journey getting to this moment.
I started competitive golf when I was 8 years old. My grandpa taught me to play golf at the age of 2, and then I was just playing out there for fun until age 8, and then played competition all until now, and I'm still playing competition golf. And then September of my junior year, so last year, I got a contact from Nebraska UNL PGA Management, and they asked me if I would be interested in their program, and they gave me all these amazing opportunities to come out there and check it out. And as soon as I got there, I was a done deal.
Pitt State football holds the number 3 rank in the country, more than halfway towards another undefeated regular season, but PSU ready for a big challenge against Missouri Southern on Saturday.
They're a very balanced offense. They run the ball well, they throw the ball well. They got a new quarterback. He's really good. Their O-line's really big and physical. So there's a lot of challenges. I would say this is probably the most balanced team we've played, running and passing the ball. They're right down the middle, 50-50. So it's going to be a good challenge, but we're up for it.
I think we'll have a good following over there. I would expect a good following from our crowd, being as close as we are in proximity. So I would think that we would, and we have a good football team. They have a good team. There's going to be good players on both sides, and certainly I would think that the local fans would be interested in that.
The Gorillas have won 8 in a row against the Lions, dating back to 2014. Kickoff in Joplin Saturday is at 2 o'clock. We've got complete post-game coverage here on KOAM, along with in-game updates. That's on my Facebook page, John Dales, KOAM Sports. District playoffs are here for Missouri High School softball. Win or go home this afternoon as McDonald County and Carl Junction play in a quarterfinal for the right to face Nevada on Saturday. Carl Junction taking on McDonald County. First meeting between these two all year. Mustangs start out fast in the first, down 1-0, and then Natalie Gilming bounces that one up the middle and the center. The 2 RBI single, she moves ahead to second on the throw home. Part of a 4-run inning, 4-1 McDonald County. Now bottom 2, more Mustang offense. Kirsten Hopkins goes the other way, ball keeps carrying. That's a home run. It's 6-1 McDonald County after 2 innings. Bulldogs wouldn't go away though. Georgia Arnold up here goes off the wall on the fly for a long single, makes it 6-2. Next time at the plate, Carl Junction continues to heat up. Maddie Olds hammers this one to deep left center. That's way out of here. CJ scores 2 in the 4th to make it 6-4. Part of a huge comeback back and forth game all afternoon. Carl Junction goes on to win a crazy one, 19-15, the final score. Over to Class 5, District 7, Neosho taking on Lee's Summit. In this one, we begin in the bottom of the second inning. Autumn Kinnard is going to ground this ball to short, but once it's picked up there, the throw over to first gets away. And Kinnard goes on, there's a run that scores. She's going to eventually keep running because the second throw goes into center. That's going to be a Little League home run. 2-0 Neosho. After that, into the top of the fourth, 3-0 Neosho. Lee's Summit trying to get back in it. Bases loaded. Ryan Arnold hits this one to right field. Ball gets by the outfielder. It turns into a 3 RBI triple. That ties the game at 3 apiece. Now we go ahead, bottom of the fourth, still 3-3. Carly Kinnard at the plate this time. 2 runners on. She gets all of that one. Smashed to left field, gone for a no-doubter home run. 3-run shot. Neosho leads 6-3. Wildcats go on to win 6-3. They beat Lee's Summit to move on to the next round. Over to the NFL. Chiefs at home tonight for Thursday Night Football, taking on the Broncos. Been in control all game. Travis Kelce with over 100 receiving yards. Pat Mahomes with over 200 passing yards. Chiefs defense has held Russell Wilson to just 57 passing yards all game. That's all for sports. Back with more news after this.
If you haven't decided on a Halloween costume yet, you might want to hurry. The big night is only 19 nights from now. The good news is our morning show's Caitlin O'Shaughnessy took a trip to Eagles Sales in Commerce, Oklahoma to give us a look at some of this year's hottest trends in costumes.
Well, I got a feeling that we aren't in Kansas anymore. As a matter of fact, we're in Commerce, Oklahoma, where as you can see around me, we're getting the Halloween spirit here at Eagle Sales. They've got everything you need for spooky season this year.
So here at our store, I think some of our most popular costumes in the kids area is going to be some of our superheroes, our video game costumes, the Minecraft and things like that. We have Wednesday Addams, which everyone that's a Netflix guru loves Wednesday Addams. So we do have some really good popular ones for the adults. We have mixtures of, we got scary, we got sexy, we got funny, we got inflatables, we got some really good masks. Be sure to check out our masks. We have ones with movable mouths. You do not see that very often. They're very high quality.
I think just dressing up is just fun. It's just something, you know, that you just, I don't know, it's even for adults, we're like children when it comes to Halloween, especially when it comes to dressing up. Like, you want to be this, you want to be that, you just, you know, it's just fun.
What's really unique about our store here in Commerce, Oklahoma is not only do we offer pumpkins and animatronics, we also have our little pumpkin patch outside, which we've been doing since 2018. That's actually what we grew this a part of. When we started this in 2018, we've always had the vision that we wanted to eventually turn this in to a store, and we're actually wanting to eventually have a fall festival down here. We'll have a little taste of it this year. Friday the 13th, we are going to have a little festival thing going on. We're going to have stuff for the kids to do, a little paint booth, get your face painted. We'll have our animatronic room going, pumpkins. We'll probably have pumpkin painting. So be sure to come out Friday the 13th. We'll try to have a food truck here and have some things going on. It should be a fun time.
I feel the need for speed, and I recommend that you speed on down here and get all of your Halloween necessities at Eagle Sales, happening all this month long. Reporting from Commerce, Oklahoma, I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
Caitlin was definitely the cutest pumpkin in the patch. Eagle Sales will host its Halloween party tomorrow. That is Friday the 13th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 303 South Mickey Mantle Boulevard in Commerce, Oklahoma. Well, it is Halloween time, and Walmart wants your furry friends to participate in the fun too. Walmart says food-themed pet costumes are popular this year. A lot of its customers are reaching for a pizza costume, and dragon and pig costumes are also popular. Why not? Walmart's Vibrant Life pet costumes cost about $10, and in case your pet doesn't like to wear a costume, Walmart sells Halloween-themed pet toys and treats. Gotta cash in. Well, coming up, we'll meet a Missouri man who shattered the world record for distance traveled in a pumpkin boat. Looks like a guy in a pumpkin boat has shattered a Guinness World Record by about a mile and a half. Jeannie Moose reports He may seem out of his gourd, but he was actually very snugly squeezed into one.
Some people like to decorate a pumpkin, but Steve Cuney likes to paddle one.
It handles like an absolute tank.
Steve grew his own vessel and now seems to have broken the record for longest journey by pumpkin boat. He entered the Missouri River at Kansas City and paddled just over 39 miles. It took almost 11 hours.
Yes, it feels like an accomplishment. Yes, it feels like a joke.
He carved out enough space in the just over 1,200-pound pumpkin so he could fit inside in a kneeling position. Did you cramp up? Did you go numb? What happened?
My knees started to lose a little bit of feeling.
He got rocked in the wake of barges, traveled beneath bridges, almost got swept into the pillar of one. His pumpkin even ran into a submerged rock.
Felt the entire thing shake, and then it just sent me bobbing like a cork in the water.
But he took on very little water in the boat or by mouth. We were trying to figure out how to delicately ask, but how did you make pit stops along the way?
Yeah, so I didn't. I just didn't drink too much water.
10 hours and 48 minutes after launching, Steve came ashore at Napoleon, Missouri. Were you able to stand up when you got out of the thing?
Barely. I was wobbly. I mean, I got out of the water as quick as I could and I had to lay down and stretch out.
Since the boat ramp was out of commission, they used a pontoon boat to sink the pumpkin. You deep sixed that pumpkin.
Yeah, we did.
All in all, Steve called it a good enough way to spend a Monday.
Everyone else had a Monday, and I spent 11 hours floating through God's own country in a half-ton squash. And I don't know. I like it.
The pumpkin boat, by the way, is called the Huckleberry, and you can bet Huck Finn would have approved of this adventure.
Would you fellas like a little help?
No thanks, Huck. This pumpkin is seaworthy enough to squash a record.
He definitely squashed that one. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of penguins having a pumpkin party at a Milwaukee zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.